welcome to another Elfang comic video. On this video, I want to tell you guys a little story about myself, of why I stopped collecting a lot of things. I wanted to tell this story because collecting is something beautiful. Buying figures that you like, it's something amazing, but sometimes it has, its downfalls. So I hope you guys like this video, and now let me tell you this little story of how I started collecting and why I stopped collecting. So the story basically starts in the year of 2012. That's when I first started collecting these Marvel toys called Marvel Universe. Marvel Universe was a line, but they were really articulated and really cool. I think they were 3/4 size, and I really liked collecting them. But the only thing that I didn't realize, because I was pretty young at the time, it was the fact that these toys were getting harder to find because Marvel Legends was becoming a huge thing again, which I didn't know because I was really not into the collecting world. But I really like these toys. I kept buying them, and also at the time my parents gave me a set of WWE figures that I'm pretty sure were the Jack Specifics. I was not sure back then. I don't have those toys anymore. I wish I did, but I don't know. But I'm pretty sure they were Jack Specifics. And I love playing with all these toys. But as I was getting a little bit older, I was starting to realize that I wanted something like bigger and with more articulation and better details rather than something to actually play and smash. I wanted something that I could actually articulate. So that's when I started looking up YouTube videos, and I came across Marvel Legends and WWE Elite. These were like fascinating to me. I'm pretty sure when I saw this, I think they were like line 26 of WWE Elite and Marvel Legends. It looked complicated to buy all these figures to build the bath, but again, baths were something that looked cool and I wanted to try to get into. So now this is the year of 2014, 2 years later, and I actually first started collecting both these lines. My first figure of Marvel Legends was this Iron Man that I saw at a Disney store they were selling. I'm pretty sure it didn't have any bath. It was just from a series of random Marvel characters that I thought they were pretty cool. So I decided to buy Iron Man because I really like the character. And I also bought a Constrictor that I had made a YouTube review on that. But I didn't really know the character, but I just wanted to start collecting. Which, this is my first mistake of what led to me stop collecting. So then, I started buying more and more random Marvel Legends that I keep seeing here and there. But again, I was just a kid. I really didn't have money. So every time I have money, I'll go buy some. But again, it wasn't something I'll do every week. I'll just get money like every 3 months and then I'll get a figure. So it was kind of hard for me. And also it was hard to pick between Marvel Legends and WWE Elite. So as I was saving money, Thanksgiving came and I had enough money saved up for Black Friday and I went to Toys R Us. This is when I bought my first huge amount of toys, and I decided to go more for WWE Elite because I bought a lot of Marvel Legends throughout the year. So I decided having some Elites would be good to my collection. And I bought a lot, but my favorite one was the Daniel Bryan. It was on the shelves. They had a lot of shelves. They didn't really have many good deals, but I had a pretty good amount of money back then for like toys. Again, it wasn't crazy amount, but for a kid, having more than $50 for toys, it was something crazy. I think I had over 150. So I was able to get a good amount of figures, and I was pretty happy. I got home and I played with them. It was something very unique. But then now we get to the year 2015, and this is really when I realized that I made a lot of mistakes. Marvel Legends, I don't know what started happening, but all the toys started coming out with really rough material, really rough plastic that was really hard to move around. Figures kept breaking on me, and I really didn't play with. I stopped playing with my toys at that age. I was just collecting and posting them and taking pictures of them. And again, I try to be really careful with that, but they keep breaking. The plastic was just awful. And WWE Elites were being kind of boring because we kept getting repeats and repeats. And I also stopped watching WWE at the time, so I kind of didn't connect with it. So I stopped really collecting WWE Elites. So I focused more on Marvel Legends. But Marvel Legends was making really bad action figures. They were horrendous. The articulation was rough. They were making comic versions of characters we all liked, but they were like weird versions. They were more like ultimate versions, and I was really not connecting with that. And the waves were being kind of random also. Marvel Legends was just being weird. So I kind of stopped collecting a little bit. I kept buying few figures back and then, but it wasn't really a huge thing. I kept buying the ones that catch my attention, but here's another mistake I started making. I started buying random figures that catch my attention, and that's the main purpose of collecting. But the issue here is that I started buying so many random figures that my collection had really no form. It was just some movie Marvel Legend and some random comic Marvel Legend. So many random characters that I really didn't know, but I kept buying and I kept thinking, alright, I'm gonna try to finish this wave. But then a new wave will come out and I'll start collecting that. So it was getting hard for me to be able to collect all these toys. So many random BAFs that kept coming out. And again, I didn't really have money to be buying a lot of figures. And also, back then, I was really not into buying online. I thought it was a lot of process, and I kept seeing a lot of people getting scammed. And I know Big Bad Toys and Ringside Collectibles were like a legitimate place, but as a kid, I was not thinking that. I thought they were gonna scam me or something. So I always try to stay away from online buying when I was younger. So then I stopped collecting Marvel Legends and WWE Elite by the end of 2015, and by the beginning of 2016 I really liked collecting stuff, but there was really nothing to collect. But I remember seeing this on YouTube, being the SH figures for the new Dragon Ball movie that just came out, the Freezer movie, and I thought they were amazing because I'm a huge Dragon Ball fan, and these figures were like really articulated, really poseable. But again, here we go back with the online thing. These figures were never to be found in stores. I didn't even know where to look. So I realized the only way to get them was online. So I wouldn't get them online because I didn't trust it back then. And also, once again, I didn't have much money. I was 14 at this time. And these figures were really expensive. They were above $50. So I didn't have the money to buy that kind of figures. It was later on in life that I realized that there's more like expensive figures to collect, but didn't know that at the time. So as much as I wanted them, I kind of skipped on it because I really didn't have the money to be ordering figures like that expensive at the time. Kept going to stores to look for different toys to see if they catch my attention, to try to bring back my collecting feeling, being back a collector, but there's really nothing on the shelves. But there's these things that I kept seeing everywhere, but I really never paid attention to. But now the year's 2016 and a lot of cool movies are coming out, and this is when I first put my attention into the Funko Pop franchise. I saw Superman and I grabbed it from the shelf and it was only $10, which again at the time they were only like $10, $9, and I was like, wow, this is way cheaper than collecting Marvel Legends or SH figures compared, and these things are really cool. So then I decided to buy, and I was like, alright, this is fun. But back then I was trying to be more smart about it and collect figures that I really cared for, that I really wanted to buy, of characters that I really like. I wasn't just gonna buy the entire wave. I was gonna be more specific on what I wanted to buy, because that's what I think Funko Pops are for, to buy your figures that you like, the characters you like. So then I started collecting Funko Pops. I started going more and more into that, and Funkos were just amazing and fascinating, and they keep making more and more. And back then Funko kept growing and growing, and they were making so many special editions, and I was going crazy. These things were fantastic. But now I completely stopped collecting WWE Elite and Marvel Legends. I was not buying them at all. The year, I'm pretty sure 2018 was the year that Marvel Legends came out with the 80th anniversary, and then they released the Vintage Wave. And I thought they were really cool. And also they were making the 10-year anniversary toys. And I really thought of buying those. But at the time I was like, alright, I'm really invested into Funko. And these figures are not as cool. I already have a Captain America. I already have an Iron Man. I really don't need these figures. WWE Elites were making cool figures, but they weren't really making like amazing figures that I wanted to buy. And Funko kept making few Funkos that were amazing and I wanted to keep collecting. So I kind of stick with that. But in the back of my mind, I always wanted to keep that Marvel Legends because I thought what they were releasing was really cool. That's when I made another huge mistake. I should have gone for my feeling and started collecting again back then. So then the year 2019 comes, more Marvel Legends, more Elites keep coming, more Funkos, and they're fine. But then I still not collect that year. I was just buying Funkos, but I stopped collecting Funkos because not many movies were coming out that were making great Funkos. So I really kind of decided to skip on that. And then the year 2020 comes. And that's when the whole pandemic started. But I graduated that year. So I started working. So again, back then I really didn't buy online. Everything was in store. So because of not going to any place because of COVID, I was really not able to collect, but I was fine with it. I started working, and because me started working, I started getting more and more money, which now, again, as a kid who starts working, you get all this money, you go crazy. And then I started thinking everything's closed, so I keep collecting Funkos, and I always watch the videos of the collector corps. So I was like, all right, I have money, I might as well start buying this. So that's when I started getting my feet in the water with the online shopping, and I started getting a few Funkos, a few of the collector corps or from Amazon, and everything was fine. But I stopped ordering regular Funkos from Amazon because one time the box came damaged. Kept ordering the collector corps. They were every 3 months, and I was okay with it because they're really not making any cool Funkos, but they're still making some. They had the X-Men 20 years series that I have a video on my channel for that. So everything was going fine, and then 2021 comes, and that's when I really decided to stop collecting Funkos. For some reason, Funko Pop Instagram disappeared, and I don't know why. So I stopped getting updated with what figures were coming out, and then really bad movies were being made. So I really didn't want to collect those Funkos, and they were making really ugly pieces, really random editions. They were making Christmas editions of random characters, gingerbread editions, and I was not feeling it. So I go back on the internet and start looking up Marvel Legends. And then, another huge mistake, I realized so many waves I missed. I missed the Spider-Man vintage wave. I missed all the more regular Marvel vintage waves. So many, the Marvel Legends 85 year packages. I missed on so many things, and I was, wow, I really missed on this. I was sad about it, but I was like, damn. But now that I stopped collecting Funkos and I started working, I have all this money, I decided that it was finally time for me to go back to that collection that I always wanted, which is the SH figures. I started collecting them, and they were so amazing. Once I got the first one, I couldn't stop and kept getting them, and they were amazing. But then I came a little inconvenience with the line. If you collect SH figures, you're gonna know this. First off, these toys are really expensive. They're not easy to find or like cheap to get. I was okay with that. Not them not being easy to find or them being expensive. You come to the realization that that's how this SH figure game is. But the thing I didn't like was that they took over 6 months to make a figure. Like, they'll announce it and it'll come out literally a year and a half later. And I was not a fan of that. I wanted the toys at the moment. That's what collecting is. You want it right now. You don't want to wait an entire year. Because again, they really don't have that many figures. So you have to wait an entire year and a half to get just one singular new figure. Or 6 months if you're lucky. And I really didn't want to go through that process because it was very boring. I still have some figures that I pre-ordered. I kind of stopped collecting just because of the fact that they don't make new figures. They announce them, but you never know when they're going to come out. And when they announce the release date, it's most likely going to be a year from the day they announce. So I kept collecting. If I see one, I'm going to buy it. But I don't go crazy on the internet looking for them anymore because I might get it, but how long would it take for me to add a new piece? Because again, they're not make them really easy. So now with literally nothing to collect, I started looking back at some Marvel Legends, and I'm like, all right, everything was a mistake. I just started buying random figures out of nowhere for no reason, just because I thought they were pretty. Now I'm gonna try to fix my collection, get rid of all the bad ones that I don't like, and then just focus with one specific way I want my collection to go for everything. So Funko Pops, I completely stopped collecting at the moment. I'm gonna keep buying, but I really just want good Funkos to come out and be focused, not just buy a random Funko. And for Marvel Legends, same thing. I'm really focusing right now with all these vintage waves. I wanna focus on classic Avengers looks. It's something hard right now because a lot of Marvel Legends just came out that were vintage, so they're kind of hard to get, like all the Spider-Man waves. But, you know, that's the direction I want to go with my collection. Because I want to make everything right. I'm trying to get rid of all these ultimate versions of characters that I have. And just go for, like, straightforward classics. Like, classic versions of the characters. With luckily for us, they're making. And hopefully my collection stays that way. It is getting complicated, but hopefully my collection stays in this direction. And nothing more comes across it. So, basically, I stopped collecting WWE Elites. and Funko Pops. The only things I collect right now are SH figures and Marvel Legends. I really hope my collection stays that way. Maybe I'll add a couple WWE Elite here and there, but my main focus right now are Marvel Legends and SH figures. But that's pretty much the story of why I stopped collecting. Again, I keep collecting, but not as much. If I only buy a Marvel Legends, it's gonna be a classic version of a character. Alright guys, I hope you like this video. Hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying and you guys have kind of the same point of view. Let me know what you think. Let me know everything in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe, share, and I'll see you guys in the next video.